Hey, welcome. Okay, let's just get one thing straight right from the start. What's happening with generative AI, it isn't just another software update. It's way, way bigger than that. It's like we've all woken up on a brand new continent. This is a fundamental shift in how we think and work, and today we're going to explore this new world together. You know, this quote from Professor Qian-Li Feng, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures this moment. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO with 30 years of experience or a student just starting out. AI has hit the reset button for everybody. Your past resume doesn't guarantee your future success anymore. We are all, in a very real sense, immigrants in a new land, figuring it out together.
So, that's what we're here to do. Think of this as your personal guide for this new continent. We're going to take all that anxiety you might be feeling, that sense of uncertainty, and we're going to turn it into the confidence of a seasoned navigator who's ready to chart a new course.
All right, so we're new immigrants on this AI continent. What's the very first thing you need to do when you arrive in a new country? You have to understand the language, right? Well, that's exactly what's different this time. We're in the middle of a revolution in how we talk to our machines.
So take a look at this. It really lays out the whole story. For decades, we had to learn the machine's language, typing in weird commands. Then we got icons we could click, and then screens we could touch. But today, we're in the fourth and by far the most important era. For the very first time in history, the machine is learning our language. Just think about what that means. Natural language, the words you and I are using right now, is the new programming language. That means, in a way, we're all developers now.
And because we can just talk to it, it unlocks this incredible new power. We are shifting from what you could call informational AI, which is basically Google search, it gives you a list of links, to what's now called agentic AI, an AI that actually does things. So instead of just asking for flight prices, you literally just say, hey, book me the cheapest flight to New York next Tuesday, and boom, it happens. This jump from an answer engine to an action engine is going to completely change how work gets done.
Okay, so that's the big picture theory, but let's bring this down to earth. Let's look at a real-world example of how this is playing out. We're going to zoom in on Taiwan, a place where this new AI continent is creating some really unique challenges, but also some absolutely massive opportunities.
This quote from former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, it's a little harsh, but it's also brutally honest, right? It gets right to the heart of the core paradox for Taiwan's entire tech industry. They are a world-class hardware giant, but there's always been this anxiety around software.
And here's the thing you have to understand. This isn't about people not knowing how to code. Not at all. It's way deeper than that. It's about a fundamental difference in mindset, a cultural DNA. The hardware mindset, which built Taiwan's economy, is all about precision, hitting zero defects, and meeting a client's exact specifications. But the software and AI world, it runs on a totally different operating system. It's all about speed, flexibility, and really getting inside the head of the end user to create an amazing experience. But right now, the whole world is shifting, and this is where a huge opportunity is opening up. Countries are actively trying to build tech supply chains that don't rely on China. Just look at drones. The market is totally dominated by the Chinese company DJI. But because of security concerns, there's a huge demand for an alternative. Taiwan can make the world-class chips, the motors, all the physical parts. But what's the missing piece? The brain, the advanced flight control software. This is Taiwan's golden opportunity to bridge that hardware-software gap.
And on top of all this, there's another massive challenge brewing internally: demographics. Annual births in Taiwan are expected to drop below 100,000. Now, this isn't just a statistic on a chart. This is a future with a rapidly shrinking workforce, and that poses a real threat to the whole economy.
But this is where things get interesting. What if you could solve a population problem with technology? This is where AI can step in as digital labor, making every single worker dramatically more productive. Just imagine one engineer who, with the help of AI, can now design and test 3 new products in the time it used to take them to do just one. That's how you turn a demographic crisis into a massive productivity boom. Of course, it also has to go hand in hand with policies to attract talent from all over the world.
All right, so we've talked about geopolitics, we've talked about demographics, but what does all of this mean for you, for your career, your job, and the skills you should be focusing on right now?
You know that old idea of being a T-shaped person? With deep expertise in one thing and a little bit of knowledge about other things? Well, we need to completely rethink that. In the age of AI, the most valuable part of the T is now the horizontal bar. Your superpower is no longer how deep you can dig in one single spot, but how well you can connect knowledge from many different fields. In this new world, breadth is the new depth.
And this table, wow, this really spells it out, doesn't it?
The skills that are easy for an AI to replicate, like basic calculation or data entry, their economic value is just dropping like a rock. But the stuff that makes us uniquely human, empathy, leadership, creative problem solving, that's becoming the new hard currency. That's where the real value is. These are the skills that are almost impossible for AI to substitute.
Okay, so we know what skills matter. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually use this powerful tool effectively? Let's get super practical and break down the art of talking to an AI, which people are now calling prompt engineering.
Look, anyone can do level 1. That's the easy part. Write a sales email. Simple. But the magic, the really high-quality stuff, starts to happen when you level up. At level 2, you give it examples to copy. But the real pros, they operate at levels 3 and 4. You give the AI a role. You are a top-tier cybersecurity expert explaining a threat to a non-technical board of directors. And at the highest level, you actually ask it to think step by step, to show its work. This forces it into a more logical process, and the results are just dramatically better.
All right, you want a real pro tip? Something the experts do? It's this idea of language arbitrage. Here's the deal. The most powerful AI models were trained on a massive amount of English text, so their reasoning ability is literally strongest in English. For a really complex problem, even if it's not your first language, try asking your question in English. Get the logical answer, and then just ask the AI to translate it back for you. You're basically tapping into the model's highest possible IQ.
So, this all sounds amazing, right? But, and this is a big but, as we get better at using these tools, we have to be smart about it. There are real risks we need to manage, especially when it comes to our own brains.
This brings us to probably the single biggest question of our time. Are we outsourcing our ability to think? It's a phenomenon called cognitive offloading. It's like GPS, right? Most of us don't know how to read a map anymore because we just follow the blue dot. Well, if we rely on AI for all our ideas and all our problem solving, our own mental muscles could start to get weak.
So how do we fight back? How do we keep our own minds sharp? It comes down to a few key strategies. First, always try to solve the problem yourself first without AI. Master the fundamentals. Second, change how you use the tool. Don't ask it for the answer. Come up with your own answer and then ask the AI to act as a sparring partner to challenge it and find the flaws. And finally, adopt what's called the sandwich workflow. Human, AI, human. The human sets the strategy, the AI does the grunt work, and the human comes back in to refine, verify, and add that final crucial layer of value.
You know, there's this ancient proverb that I think is the perfect way to think about all of this. It's the perfect mental model for our new relationship with artificial intelligence.
So let's break that down for the AI era. The answer that the AI spits out, that's the fish. Sure, it's useful. It feeds you for a minute. But the real power, the thing that's going to sustain your career for a lifetime, that's the fishing rod. And the fishing rod is your ability to ask great questions, to think critically, and to combine the AI's output with your own unique human experience. Anyone can get the fish. The real skill is knowing how to fish.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. This isn't a story about humans being replaced. It's a story about humans being augmented. Look, you won't be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by a person who knows how to use AI. The future belongs to those who can master this new tool. So, I'll leave you with this question. Are you ready to learn how to fish?